Minato Sahashi is an ordinary teenager trying to get admission into university, but with little success. After failing the entrance exams twice, he returns disheartened, but destiny has other plans as from the sky above falls a beautiful maiden named Musubi, straight into his lap. Upon some explanation, it's revealed that she's an extraterrestrial being known as a Sekirei. This race of aliens, upon contact with a suitable human, Ashikabi, forms bonds with the act of kissing. This act grants them access to extraordinary strength. Following this very unusual encounter, both Minato and Musubi are forced into a high-stakes survival battle, one where they have to compete against other such pairs in a game known as Sekirei Plan. Our story begins as Minato is feeling depressed on his way home after just failing his university entrance exams. Passing a store, he hears a reporter on TV talking about MBI, a company that bought out almost a whole city. As he heads home, a beautiful girl literally falls onto him from the sky. Landing in an inappropriate position on Minato, the girl thanks him for catching her. As she does this, a pair of twin girls appear and attack her with lightning bolts. Shocked by their powers, Minato does nothing when the girl grabs him and runs off. They escape the lightning users and head to Minato's apartment. After a short explanation, Minato learns about Sekirei, the race of aliens Musubi comes from. He also learns of Ashikabi, the humans that Sekirei search for as their master. These people can create a bond with Sekirei known as Wing and grant them a huge power boost. Later, while heading home after getting food, they run into the girls from yesterday. Quickly, the twins attack Musubi and pin her to the ground. To their surprise, Minato stands up for her, causing a reaction from Musubi. The girls shoot another attack only for Minato to pick up Musubi and run away. Fleeing into an alleyway, Minato finally looks at Musubi. To his surprise, she's looking at him strangely and seems like a different person. The girl reaches up toward his lips right as the twins catch up to them. As they run towards the pair, yelling for Musubi to stop, she kisses Minato and a bright light starts to shine from her. Wings of light burst from her back, blowing the other girls away. When she stands to fight them, the girls simply say they don't fight winged Sekirei and leave. On the other side of the alley, the twins meet another person, Homura, a fire user who looks after unwinged Sekirei. Homura tells them to stop their acts and leaves. That night at Minato's apartment, the CEO of MBI, Minaka, appears on television. The man reveals the full extent of what's going on with Sekirei. There are 108 of them, each with special abilities, and they're all meant to fight each other in a massive game. The entire city of Shinto Taito is an arena for this battle royale, and as an Ashikabi, Minato's participation is now automatic. He's not allowed to tell anyone else about the Sekirei plan, or the MBI will come after him. While Minato is already troubled by what he's landed himself in, his landlord shows up. The grumpy old man instantly kicks him out when he sees Musubi claiming these apartments are for singles only. The next night, they end up at a park after unsuccessful apartment hunting all day. Here, Musubi promises Minato that she'll always be by his side. Taking his hand in her own, she leaps high into the sky, creating a beautiful scene with the moon as their background. After falling from Musubi's jump, Minato is slightly injured. Luckily, they land in the yard of a kind woman's home. She brings them in and has Minato treated by a man. They introduce themselves as Miya Asama and Kagari. Seeing that Musubi is hungry, Miya offers to let them stay for dinner. As they eat, another girl named Uzume enters. Miya reveals these people are her tenants as her home is an inn, Izumo Inn. At Minato's request, she accepts him and Musubi as her new tenants and gives them a room. The next day, Musubi meets Yukari, Minato's sister, who has just been accepted into a university here and will soon come live with them. As a new day begins, Musubi trains with Miya, who has proven to be quite strong with a sword. Meanwhile, Minato heads out to the part-time job he started at a construction site. There, he meets Kaoru Seo after a hard day of work. As the two share the lunch Miya made for Minato, the lightning girls from before arrive. The two reveal Seo is their Ashikabi and apologize for their previous actions. Later, Kaoru tells Minato about a message from Minaka and all the Ashikabi. There's a Sekirei number 108 in the city's botanical gardens who's caused the whole place to become a wild jungle-like area. The first Ashikabi to reach her can have her. Kaoru and Minato head to the location provided, curious about what's going on. When they reach the garden, Kaoru tells Minato about how some Ashikabi forcibly wing Sekirei even if they don't want it, just to have as many of them as possible. Determined to not let this happen to Kasano as he's now certain she's the mystery Sekirei, Minato rushes further into the gardens. Arriving at Kasano's location, Minato finds another Sekirei trying to kidnap her. With some help from Seo's Sekirei, he gets Kasano away from her. As the kidnapper, number 43, attacks him, Musubi appears. She breaks number 43's weapon and turns to Minato. Angry at her weapon being broken, she attacks Musubi with blades made of wind. Hitting her over and over again, she hurts her and destroys most of her clothes as well, leaving Musubi nearly naked. Remembering her training with Mia, Minato and his friends escape the scene, taking Kusano with them. They all safely return to Izumo Inn, and the group share dinner. Later, Minato and Ku, short for Kusano, are on their own, talking about how he came to find her. Happy to be here with him and wanting him to be her Ashikabi, Ku asks Minato to wing her. Musubi arrives to watch it happen and is overjoyed at the beautiful light of her wings. One morning, Ku tells Minato about a friend she misses, another Sekirei. That night, Ku sees something she believes to be a ghost. Terrified, she goes to Minato and Musubi, who spend the night searching the inn but find nothing. The next day, Yukari is heading to Minato's home to meet with him when she runs into a feminine young man, the boy Ku has been missing. Instantly deciding he's her type, she even defends him when some Sekirei appear and attack him. Yukari grabs his hand and rushes to her apartment without thinking. Meanwhile, at Izumo Inn, Musubi explains to Minato how a Sekirei is permanently separated from the Ashikabi if they lose a battle. Hearing this, he gets depressed, seeing how all of this is a game to someone. Musubi comforts him, resulting in a touching moment. Meanwhile, in a strange room with computers all over, a girl in glasses is seen. She's been watching everything Minato has been doing. Deciding she wants him as well, the girl hacks an MBI satellite. Using this satellite, she distracts Musubi with attacks from the sky and meanwhile ambushes Minato in the bath. As formal introductions take place, Matsu shows the group her hidden room at the inn. Mia tells them her husband used to work at MBI and had thus provided shelter to Matsu as he knew her. The ghost Ku saw was just her. Later, Homura is seen battling the Sekirei that attacked Yukari and Shi. After running them off, he rests in an alley. That is when his fire powers start going out of control because he's still an unwinged Sekirei. This is when another Sekirei, Tsukiyomi, arrives. She uses her water powers to cool Homura down, saving him for now. The two go on to have a talk about how she doesn't want to accept the Ashikabi she's having a reaction to. That night, Matsu sneaks into Minato's room and suddenly kisses him, gaining her wings. The next morning, Minato wakes to find all his Sekirei sleeping with him. Nervous at Matsu's attempt to give him a good morning kiss, he realizes she's when she accidentally kisses Musubi and just enjoys it. Later that evening, Minato dozes off while studying and dreams of yet another Sekirei who's reacting to him. He goes to seek Matsu's help and finds out who this Sekirei is. Number 9, Tsukiyomi herself. The group decide to seek her out so they can help her, forming a plan to do so. The next day, Minato and Ku are out in the city when they bump into Seo. They walk with him while discussing the situation with Matsu when something unexpected happens. Seo's Sekirei appear, followed by Tsukiyomi. The woman lands right on Minato. Realizing he's the Ashikabi she's reacting to, Tsukiyomi decides to free herself. When Tsukiyomi attacks Minato, he tries to talk her down. Unfortunately, his words just make her angrier. After some help from Seo and his Sekirei, though, Minato is able to convince her he's not what she thinks. Deciding to accept him as her Ashikabi, Tsukiyomi kisses Minato and gains her wings. As Minato and his Sekirei return to Izumo Inn, the girls spend the day fighting over who is his true wife. Minato tries to explain the situation to Mia, but it's revealed that she already knows. Since her husband was a researcher at MBI, Mia was aware of everything he worked on, including the Sekirei project. As Musubi and Tsukiyomi share a bath, Ku and Minato have a heartfelt conversation about his feelings for all of them. At the same time, Minaka is seen on the MBI building's roof. He announces that Phase 2 of the Sekirei project shall now begin. Early in the morning, Minaka has appeared on the news to announce his plans. Shinto Taito has been sealed off from the outside world, and Phase 2 of the Sekirei plan has started. While that is happening, things at Izumo Inn are the same as ever. Minato's Sekirei fighting over who gets more time with him, and Matsu watching on for fun. Later in the day, though, they're visited by an old friend of Musubi's, Sekirei No. 4, an agent of MBI known as the Black Sekirei. She shortly leaves the inn after speaking to Musubi. But as she leaves, she runs into Mia and reveals a shocking fact. Mia is Sekirei No. 1. As the preparations for Phase 2 continue, Minato is grateful for how things are at the inn. Meanwhile, Yukari is out with Shi. She dresses him up in super girly clothes to try and disguise him, but they very quickly draw the attention of a dangerous Ashikabi, someone who's been forcibly winging Sekirei and wishes to do the same to Shi. With Phase 2 starting, any Ashikabi and Sekirei trying to escape the city are hunted down by the disciplinary squad of MBI. Over at Izumo Inn, Matsu informs Minato of something strange. There's a Sekirei who has recently been abandoning their opponents' bodies after defeating them, an act which is unheard of between Sekirei for many reasons. When Minato asks Tsukiyomi and Musubi to be careful because of this person, they just become even more determined to defeat them. With Yukari and Shi, they have a talk about their siblings, and Yukari decides she'll help him look for his little sister, Kusano. Over at a hospital, an exchange between Uzume and a man reveals she's the one defeating and abandoning Sekirei. She does this at the command of another Ashikabi in exchange for treatment for her own Ashikabi, a sick and fragile girl who is hospitalized constantly. The next day, Musubi and Tsukiyomi head out to look for this mysterious Sekirei, not knowing it's Uzume. As the pair find her attacking a Sekirei, they confront her. The two face off against the masked Sekirei, preparing for a battle. As Tsukiyomi faces the disguised Sekirei, another woman walks onto the scene and interrupts their fight. Introducing herself as No. 3, she disappears with Uzume in a gust of wind. Left alone in the street, Tsukiyomi turns to Musubi, only to find her gone as well. Musubi has returned to the inn to fetch Minato for something important. She takes him to a familiar apartment, the one he used to live in by himself. There, Minato meets No. 95 Kuno, the Sekirei Uzume was hunting, and her Ashikabi, Shigi. Hearing the two out, Minato learns they plan to leave Shinto Taito as Kuno has no fighting ability at all. The two ask for his help, to which he agrees to try and figure something out. Later that night, Uzume and No. 3 arrive at Izumo Inn, both of them drunk out of their minds. The next morning, Minato awakens to a terrifying situation. Uzume and No. 3 are both naked in his bed, and his Sekirei walk in. After clearing up the misunderstanding of what they were doing there, the group heads to the dining room where they discuss Shigi's situation. Final decision is to help them escape the city, but this won't prove in any way an easy feat. Musubi, however, is optimistic as ever, telling him it'll all work out as long as those two keep the bond that they have. Minato's group, along with Shigi, Kuno, and No. 3, are at Seo's home to discuss their plan. While he tries to charge them for his help at first, a call from Mia is more than enough to change his mind. Seo goes on to tell them the layout of the city, along with all the different territories and the dangerous Ashikabi who control them. With a plan of action formed to get Shigi and Kuno out of the city the following night, a farewell party is arranged to celebrate their escape. Meanwhile, Uzume struggles with her own goals. She doesn't want to stop Shigi and Kuno, but to save her Ashikabi, she must follow her orders. As Minato and the group set out on the night of the plan, Tsukiyomi refuses to join, believing their plan is cowardly and that it is a Sekirei's duty to fight, not run. As the escape plan begins, Kusano heads to one of the two bridges they're going to use to deal with all the guards there. Unfortunately, it turns out MBI knew about their plan all along, and Kusano ends up stuck on the bridge. Minato decides to go back to save her, but is stopped by Matsu. She tells him she'll save the girl herself, so he should focus on the plan. Heading out on a motorcycle, she arrives at the bridge and uses a bunch of weapons to defeat the soldiers trapping Kusano. The two escape while Minato's group heads to the other bridge for Shigi and Kuno to get out. When they get there, though, they're met by the disciplinary squad, number 105 Hiyahane and number 104. Number 104 engages Musubi in a battle. The latter dodges punch after punch, but 104 is too skilled and powerful for her. Eventually, her attacks overwhelm Musubi, knocking her to the ground and blowing her clothes off. As Minato reaches out to her, number 104 delivers the finishing blow, causing Musubi's Sekirei mark to disappear. Back at the inn, Mia's words have made Tsukiyomi realize she must go help Minato as one who claims to be his wife. She rushes off towards the bridge, planning to help her Ashikabi and friends. While Minato saddens at the fall of Musubi, Kuno decides to have Shigi boost her power with a winging. She tries her best to stop the disciplinary squad, but only manages to delay them at best. With all their options gone, things look bad for Minato and friends, but that is when Tsukiyomi arrives to save them. The woman battles against the red and blue Sekirei. She forms a water blade of her own to counter 105's attacks, and they head into a destructive battle, ruining the bridge all around them as they fight. While number 105 keeps her busy, number 104 goes in to attack Minato. But just as the attack is about to hit, something amazing happens. A light begins to shine from Musubi, and she stands as a totally different person. She claims her name is Yume, Sekirei number 8, one of the original members of the disciplinary squad. As the current members fly her way with attacks ready, Yume launches a powerful energy blast that defeats both enemy Sekirei. Just when Matsu and Kusano arrive on her bike, Yume picks up the two enemies and throws them off the bridge. Number 4 arrives and attacks Yume. Unfortunately for her, Yume turns back into Musubi right after this happens, making number 4 stop her attack. She leaves after telling Musubi to get stronger. With Shigi and Kuno successfully escaped, Minato and his group finally head home, their mission a success. With time, things at Izumo go right back to normal, the Ashikabi and his Sekirei living life to the fullest while they all compete for his attention. The end. Check out this next anime recap showing on screen right now.